Hi guys, how are you doing? Hope you're all doing well. Welcome back to my channel and welcome to today's video, which is going to be a comparison video between two outlet centres now, and there is a whole reason why my nose is very itchy. It's the hay fever it's hay fever basically. But today's video is going to be a comparison between London Designer Outlet and Icon Designer Outlet at the O2, because you know they're both in London and I wanted to do a comparison, and I have done a comparison between London Designer Outlet and Bicester Village before, which I'll leave linked up the top. But today we're going to do London Designer Outlet and Icon Designer Outlet. But first off, if you're new, hi, welcome, my name is Matt, welcome to my channel. Please take a moment to subscribe if you like a come shop with me, shopping related video, haul, too good to go bag, grocery haul, all that kind of thing. If you like that kind of thing, just take a moment to subscribe down below and ring my bell to be notified of when I upload. It is free, there is no cost to you for doing so. But as I said, today's video is going to be, my nose is so itchy, today is going to be a London Designer Outlet and an Icon Designer Outlet kind of comparison video, because I want to give you the most informed. I've been to both of these places. I've only been to Icon Designer Outlet once, but I've been to London Designer Outlet, I'd probably say 6 or 7 times, if not more. So I'm very well versed in both of them. Well, not Icon Designer Outlet, but I have got an opinion on that. So we're going to split this video up into 4 sections. We're going to do the location of both of them, the shop availability, the restaurant availability, and then my overall recommendations of whether you should go to one or the other, or both, who knows, so stick around to the end. But yeah, let's first start off with location. Now I'm going to have maps up on the screen, and I've used a reference point of Oxford Circus, because you know that is pretty central London in terms of it's the West End, it's a tourist heavy area, and I've done comparisons on driving and also the tube to different places. So obviously, if you don't know, well, London Designer Outlet is located at Wembley Stadium and Icon Designer Outlet is located at O2. So there are pretty iconic places, big arenas, big places like that. And so London Designer Outlet is literally next to Wembley Stadium. It's in Wembley Park, at Wembley. And so, you know, in Brent kind of area. So if you were to drive from, and I'll put maps on the screen, if you were to drive from Oxford Circus to London Designer Outlet, if you feel so inclined, and I did this on a Saturday afternoon, by the way, so that is kind of what we're working on. It would be, well, it's only 10 miles, like driving rise, and it would take you 43 minutes. In terms of if you were to get on public transport, which is the most likely form of getting there from central London, it would take you 38 minutes, which actually is only like 5-minute saving really, which is very interesting. Maybe it's not taking into account the fact, it does say now, so I don't know. It takes you 38 minutes to get from Oxford Circus to the Wembley Park Stadium. So you go Oxford Circus on the Bakerloo line to Baker Street, and then you get the Met or Metropolitan line to Wembley Park, and it says it's 38 minutes, and then you would have to do a 12-minute walk from there to London Designer Outlet. So actually, I think, yeah, that does take into account the time, I think. Yeah, I think so. But anyway, that would cost you £3.20 each way. If you're going to Icon Designer Outlet, which is located at the O2, which was formerly called the Millennium Dome, so it's the O2 Arena, or the arena inside the O2 is called the O2 Arena, and that would take you 51 minutes if you were driving, and it's only 8.7 miles actually from Oxford Circus. We're using Oxford Circus as the reference point, and it would take you 51 minutes for driving, or it would take you 42 minutes via the tube. You would have to, this says to get the Central Line one stop to what's it called, Bond Street, and then the Jubilee all the way to North Greenwich, and that would take 42 minutes. I personally would walk from Oxford Circus to Bond Street. It's not worth the faff, and that would take 42 minutes, and would cost £2.80. So there you go, there's a comparison. They're both, I would say, both pretty similar distances from central London, more often than not. So if you're looking for, if you're a tourist and you want to go to one of these places, you are going to, they're both very comparable distances in terms of how long it's going to take you to get there via the tube. If you are looking for a more, well, we'll get onto it now in terms of the shop availability. Now, if you're looking for a proper designer outlet, you're going to be disappointed in both of these. London Designer Outlet has Designer Outlet in the name. I don't even know if Icon Designer Outlet has that in the name. I've got my iPad up here. I am just going to do a quick Google to see if it even has it in the name for Icon Designer Outlet, or Icon, I think it's just called Icon Outlet, and I can tell you the number of stores that are available at these places. Why is it not working? It says Icon Designer, well, Icon Outlet, let's just call it Icon Outlet because they don't have designer in the title. It's got 60 brands, it says, under one roof. Now, I would say both of these places, in terms of, let's just talk about the shops and I'll get onto my views in a moment. The Icon Outlet at the O2 does have a okay selection. Let me just go through all the stores. You've got your sportswear brands. Both of these do sportswear brands quite well in terms of they both have Adidas, they both have Asics, they both have Nike. But Icon Outlet has Calvin Klein, which London Designer Outlet has as well. O2 Icon Outlet has Crew Clothing, the other one doesn't. They've got a French Connection, they've got Gant, which London Designer Outlet doesn't. They both have Guess. London Designer Outlet doesn't have Hackett, but Icon Outlet does. Icon Outlet has Hobbs, it's got Holland & Barrett, it's got Hotel Chocolat, it's got Jack Wills, which London Designer Outlet used to but doesn't anymore. They both got Kurt Geiger, they both got Levi's, they both got a Lindt store, which is very key. You can always get something in the Lindt store. If you're having a bad shopping day and don't buy anything, you'll always find something in the Lindt store to get. You can do the pick and mix and get the goods. Icon Outlet has Moss as well. Both have a New Balance, both have a Next outlet. London Designer Outlet does have an M&S, whereas the other one doesn't. Both have Phase 8, for example. Only Icon Designer Outlet has Radley, which even Bicester Village doesn't have anymore. Icon Outlet has Reiss, whereas London Designer Outlet doesn't. They both have a Skechers. Ted Baker is available at Icon Outlet, where it's not available at London Designer. Both have a Superdry, both have a Tommy Hilfiger. So I think in terms of brands, and let me just go on London Designer Outlet, although I've been there the most. I can't remember all the stores off my top of my head, but they have a focus on sportswear as well, but they have probably the same amount in terms of they have New Balance, both have New Balance, both have Asics, both have Nike, both have Adidas. London Designer Outlet does have a North Face, whereas Icon doesn't. You have got, so we've got all of those. They've got Converse at London Designer Outlet, where Icon doesn't. They have, that is probably the major one. They have a Liam Wrangler, an M&S and a Lyland Scott, whereas Icon doesn't. They also have a Puma at Icon, at London Designer Outlet, sorry, and Icon doesn't. But those are, I would say, the main ones that it doesn't have. Yeah. So in terms of store wise, there are stores that both have that the other one hasn't. So you're talking like Converse and Puma at London Designer Outlet, and at Icon Outlet you're talking Hobbs, French Connection, Crew, Radley. So more, I would say that's more focused on fashion, whereas being where it's located, London Designer Outlet is more focused on your sports brands because it's at Wembley. So yeah, if you're looking for a designer brand outlet, these are not for you. They're not going to have Burberry, they're not going to have Prada, they're not going to have these top high-end brands, Gucci, Dior, any of that. If you're looking for somewhere like that, you're going to have to go outside of the M25 to Bicester Village, and I have got a comparison video, as I said at the beginning, on London Designer Outlet compared to Bicester Village and which one you should go to. So I'll leave that linked up at the top, and I have a whole playlist on Bicester Village, so I do go there fairly frequently, either once a month, if not every other month basically. So I'll leave that linked up the top for you to go check out, because they have opened a few new brands there recently. They've got Self Portrait and some other brands as well that I cannot remember off the top of my head, but they've got some other brands like what's it called, Ganni's coming, if not already, and Palm Angels, something like that, you know that brand, that's there as well. So they have got some new brands that they've opened there recently, which are more of the luxury high end, whereas London Designer Outlet and Icon are very much like high street brand focused, or like a bit higher of end of high street in terms of like Hobbs and stuff like that. In terms of restaurants, they are very comparable to each other. They both have a wide selection. They both have like your normal high street chains, so they do have a good mix of those. If you're not familiar with the O2, since it's been the O2, they've always had a good selection of restaurants. They have that was the, like, back in the day, it was just the O2 and then restaurants, you know, like the O2 Arena and restaurants, but now it's got more. I think they've always had like a cinema and stuff, but they've got Walk Across the O2, they've got the outlets, you know, there's a lot more to do at the O2 rather than just the arena. And even though I don't think there was anything on that day, it was very busy when I went last time. So, you know, in terms of restaurants, I feel like you'll be well covered. And you've got like coffee shops like Costa and Pret and Starbucks at them, as well as, you know, sit down chain restaurants like Nando's, Pizza Express, ZZ, Five Guys, stuff like that. So you'll be well covered in terms of restaurants at those places. You won't go hungry. But in terms of my recommendation for both, for me personally, where I live, when I went over to the O2 to go to the Icon Designer Outlet, it was a bit of a trek. I've got to get into London, which can take from like door to door into like central London, can take an hour. That includes travel time in terms of getting to a station. And then I've got to get from there to the place. So it can take nearly 2 hours for me to get over to the O2. It's a lot simpler for me to get to Wembley, but this is like my own personal circumstance. But as I said at the beginning of the video, we did a comparison from central London, which I'm taking as Oxford Circus. They're very comparable going each way. You know, they're both in opposite directions practically. You can get to both fairly quickly. Well, I say quickly, you know, within like 40 minutes, give or take a few minutes. So in terms of that, there's not really a comparison in terms of central London. It's more in terms of what you're looking for. If you're looking for more sportswear brands, even though both of them have the top sportswear brands in terms of Adidas, Nike, New Balance, Skechers, if you want to class that as them, they have that at both, whereas London Designer Outlet does have Puma, Converse and North Face, which Icon doesn't. If you want a bit more fashion focused, Icon does have Gant, Hobbs, Hackett, French Connection, Reiss, Radley, which the other one doesn't, but it also has Tommy Hilfiger, Superdry, Calvin Klein, Guess, which London Designer Outlet does have. So there is a few more brands that are you know, catering to more fashion rather than sports. So it depends on what you want really from the designer outlet. Both have their pluses and minuses. I would say in terms of the brands, the brands that I just mentioned that were available at Icon that aren't available at London Designer Outlet, I kind of like. Which I don't know if it would be worth me making a trip over there just for those. I don't really see that. They also have Crew Outlet at London Designer Outlet, not London Designer, they don't have that there, Icon Outlet. So those brands are good, but for me, I don't think that's a particularly draw for me to get there. But if I was standing on Oxford Street and I didn't want to go down Oxford Street, my decision would probably be, I do really like Converse, that is the only issue, and I do like the Converse outlet, which I wish they had at Icon. That would make it perfect in my eye. That is a North Face, because it doesn't have those. Both of them have like their equal measures, and both of them, if the travelling wasn't an option, I would say, in my opinion, with the shops available, it's going to have to be Icon Outlet. Even though when you go there, it looks a bit dead. Same does London Designer Outlet, to be fair. It doesn't look great. There's a lot of empty units, both of them do, but that is what you're going to get at any shopping centre these days, I think, apart from Bicester, because Bicester can draw in the people. Bicester Village, like, there's hardly an empty unit in sight over there, but that is because it is like a tourist attraction in its own right. But yes, let me know. I'm really good to hear your comments down below and your thoughts on these two. Have you been to any of them, both of them? What do you think is the best one out of the two? What is your comparison? Let me know down below. If you're not ready, please take a moment to subscribe. It's free, there's no cost to you for doing so. Just click that button down below and ring my bell to be notified of when I upload. But other than that, thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye.
No, man, I still go, 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 yo, go, go, go. Hustle hard, hustle every single